Welcome one, welcome all. I am Mark Paulda, a professional photographer. I have been in the photography business for well over 20 years. I want to help you succeed so you can earn money with your camera. With every episode, I will offer you sound advice so you can be part of the 15% of aspiring photographers who succeed. If you are looking for help to turn your passion for photography into a successful business, you have come to the right place. I have got the answers. My weekly episodes will help you understand how to market yourself, how to build a profitable business, and best business practices. No more feeling lost. You do not have to go it alone. Join my audio podcast and start taking my advice on turning your hobby into a profitable business. You will get access to a professional photographer and the best practices that I have learned and experienced over the years. If you have questions along the way, definitely email me. mark@markpaulda.com. You are also invited to join my photography success text community. Send me a text. 915-226-0959. If you are outside the United States, be sure to include +1, the United States country code. Let's get started. Is confidence an issue for you? Today, we will discuss how to build confidence as a photographer. Sometimes, the most difficult challenges facing novice photographers are related not to matters of cameras and lighting, but rather the intrapersonal and interpersonal skills required to produce great photographs. Namely, new photographers are not typically confident in their skills, becoming increasingly uncomfortable when it comes to photographing other people. Perhaps, not surprisingly, these skills are essential in order to excel, particularly in those photographic pursuits that involve interaction with other humans. To that end, I present 3 techniques to help photographers build confidence in their own abilities, and to achieve a level of comfort when working with others. Lacking confidence? Try photographing strangers on the street. Under normal circumstances, the simplest and most effective way to build confidence as a photographer involves heading out onto a crowded public street and photographing strangers. But given all the pandemic-related precautions impacting every city in the Western world, approaching strangers on the street is not as practical as it used to be. In lieu of camping out on a crowded Manhattan corner amid teeming throngs of bodies, instead try a safer, more socially distanced approach. Rather than a crowded place, take your camera to a wide open area where you are likely to encounter people at a slower pace. A public park, for instance, should offer an opportunity to photograph people without surrounding yourself with them and their germs. Think of the camera as an entree to discussion. "Excuse me, do you mind if I take your picture?" If they say no, you simply say, "Okay, thank you anyway," and walk away. If they say "What for?" you can reply with something along the lines of, "I am studying photography and practicing making portraits of strangers." You do not have to lie, or worry, or fret too much at all. The worst thing that can happen is they say no, and you smile and walk away. If they say yes, you practice your portraiture along with the interaction, building those skills and confidence as well. It really is the kind of thing that gets easier with practice, and after a few successes, or even failures, you will feel it get easier while your confidence begins to grow. Even if the people you approach say no, it is still a win. You are gaining experience even in the act of approaching another person and interacting with them. One caveat for the above is safety. Not only is it essential in a COVID world to preserve social distancing and other best practices to prevent the spread of the insidious virus, safety is also a consideration any time we are interacting with people we do not know. Do not ever put your personal safety at risk. Working alone on late nights in dark alleys is probably not the ideal time and place to go looking for human interaction. Instead, stick to public parks and places where the public offers some semblance of protection, and do it during daylight hours. In general, this practice works, because like so many things, it gets easier the more you do it. It is like building a muscle by lifting weights, but in this case, the muscle is confidence, and the exercise is pointing a camera at strangers. Nervous you will make a scene? Relax. Your camera has a superpower. Did you ever notice a professional photographer at a wedding, sporting event, or concert? Did you give that photographer more than a glance and a moment's thought? Chances are good that even if you noticed one of these pros putting themselves front and center to capture the action, you probably did not give them a second thought. Yet, the first time you walk to the front of the church, or along the goal line, or at the foot of a stage, you feel like everyone in the audience is focused on you. The reality is, people may wonder for a split second what that person is doing, but once they realize it is a photographer, their attention is back on the main event. This is because the camera has a superpower. It makes you all but invisible. This hesitation, the desire not to make a scene, it comes from a very good place, but it causes huge problems for photographers. Because getting close to where the action is happening is key to making great photographs. So, if you resist stepping up for fear of drawing attention to yourself, you are going to miss out on a lot of great shots. To practice this technique, start thinking of the camera for its superpower of making you invisible. Make trial runs by stepping up to make a quick photograph in places that might draw looks. Then start taking your time to pay attention to the fact that nobody is likely giving you a second look. Your camera's superpower can be used to your benefit. Worried your subjects are worried? Success starts with confidence in yourself. As is so often the case in life, it is imperative that you act like you know what you are doing as a photographer. Better still, show others that you really do know what you are doing by taking charge of your photo shoot. A friend of mine was a brand new commercial photographer. A client once hired her to take some PR photos of a group of 5 people at a check presentation. This kind of shot is not going to win any awards nor appear in her portfolio, but it is very commercially useful, and it is the kind of thing photographers get as a regular request. She was photographing a small group of people outdoors on a warm, sunny day, and she knew, even as a young photographer, that she should stand the group with their backs to the sun in order to prevent them from squinting. She then added an off-camera flash as the key light to highlight their faces with beautiful illumination. Her client, though, assumed the folks in the picture should face the sun. After all, for decades we have been taught to photograph with the sun at our backs to illuminate the subject. And here is where my photographer friend messed up. If she had more confidence in explaining that she knew what she was doing, her client would have been pleased, and her day would have gone well. But instead, she just shrugged and said, "Okay," thinking something along the lines of "it is your nickel." So, she stood the people wherever the client wanted, and she will think I am a team player. But instead of finding me flexible and helpful, however, my client secretly called my photographer friend's boss to inquire if this young photographer had any idea what she was doing. This led to a lack of repeat business. Instead of caving, she should have stood her ground and explained her plans calmly and clearly. Actually, this will look great. This way, they will not squint, and she is using a flash to light their faces. Had my friend done so, her client likely would have agreed, then seen the great work she produced, and said, "Sure enough, this photographer knows her stuff." But instead, my photographer friend did not have the confidence to stand behind the technique and composition she knew to be right. Needless to say, she never heard from that client again. So the next time you have an opportunity to convince someone you know what you're redoing, whether that is a paying client or a concerned family member, do not be shy about letting them know you have got it covered. Your confidence will grow, and so will their confidence in you and your abilities. A genuine thank you for joining me today for this episode. If you are serious about success in the photography business, then I am serious and ready to help. Visit markpaulda.com and discover a variety of ways I can help you in your journey. If you have questions along the way, definitely email me. mark@markpaulda.com. You are also invited to join my photography success text community. Send me a text. 915-226-0959. If you are outside the United States, be sure to include +1, the United States country code. I will catch you in the next episode.